I guess some of you are watching it. It's me and Hendrick Story again, telling you the good news about Tippah County football. How you making it today, kid?
Man, good. Man, good. Glad to talk about football again.
Yeah. So it was a big week last week for Tippah County football.
Yeah.
All three teams got the dub, which is just not a super week. We kind of look back, it's nearly been 6 years since that has happened, that all three won on the same night. So I guess that is a cause for celebration for last week games. And we got some big games this week.
We do.
It was a big week last week. Got an opportunity for another big week, obviously. Every week's big in high school football. I mean, but we got some marquee matchups, I think, in North Mississippi involve Tippah County teams this week. So I guess let's hop right into it. We're at the RCTV 19 studios in Ripley, Mississippi. We're talking Tippah County football. Let's jump in. We'll talk about, me and you were both at Ripley's homecoming last week.
Man, that was a good night.
It was a good night.
Yeah.
The rain, it was there early, but it kind of held back.
Yeah, I think the last rain I felt was right as they started homecoming. And it was some sprinkles, and then it was clear. Weather was good.
So we got homecoming pictures.
Yeah.
We were there kind of. We broadcast that game last week.
Yeah.
And so it was it was a kind of a statement victory because Ripley had rolled through their opening two opponents.
Yeah. They were averaging about 61 points.
Yeah, and so then they face a really, really physical, very good Kasu team. They brought the Thunder a couple, but Ripley came away with the 21-0 win.
Yeah.
Really, except for kind of a garbage time play that shouldn't even have happened, touchdown. They've not given up any points this year except for that.
Yeah. And they talk about that. Now, Michael Harrison was talking about that score shouldn't even happen.
Yeah.
I think they got extra time.
And I think I saw somebody that they were like 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage when they threw it. So, anyway, either way it goes, they're giving up an average of 2 points per game, which that will get it done. That'll get it done.
Defense wins championships.
They got a stout one.
Yeah. If you can keep them from scoring, you ain't got to score too many points.
Yeah. But that Kossuth bunch, they brought the lumber. A few times. He caused a couple fumbles with some big hits.
Yeah, man. The lick.
He took it on like the 4. He was on about the 4.
I mean, he was going in, and like I told you, anybody would have dropped that one.
Yes,
I mean,
that was
kind of standing up, and Johnson, who plays safety. I mean, he just got a running start, and just unloaded on him, and and then they Williams ended up fumbling late at the 4. So course, but that game, it could have been 28-0. It probably should have been 28-0. Could have been 35-0. I mean, it was sort of one of those like methodical, just beat downs. I likened it to the year LSU beats Alabama when they have Les Miles. They end up meeting for the national championship game, and Alabama beats them 21-0. And it was just, I don't think LSU passed the 50-yard line. It was just a methodical,
a slugfest.
Yeah,
I just kind of pounded up and down the field, and then field. So it was 21-0. Kossuth had a couple of turnovers. Ripley had a couple of turnovers. Field conditions, even though it wasn't just coming. I mean, it was still muddy, and we were over on the sideline walking through like 3 or 4 inches of rain down there, or water on the sideline. So then the field was, field conditions definitely played a part.
The field was in good shape. I mean, because that field it drains really well.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some puddles on the sideline, but the way they taking care of it.
It's definitely one of the better fields for draining, but still, muddy conditions. Maybe, I guess, slowed Ripley's offense down just a touch. You would think probably. Although they hit a couple of, really the story of the night besides the defense, and that was they had two big plays.
Oh yeah.
So a big pass play and then a big run, and that kind of was the name of the game.
Yeah, and that's something that Lyles talked about. just the way they started, because early in the season he talked about they had trouble scoring early.
Mm-hmm.
They've been scoring early in every game, and I was standing behind in the end zone. Costa got the ball 1st, and I mean, the first 3 plays were just. Costa didn't get an inch.
Yeah, well, they lost.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was no gains. There were some losses there, and so the ball kind of, the ball slipped through the return man's fingers on the opening kick. So that was kind of set the tone, for the rest of the game there. But yes, Ripley came to play, made a little bit of a statement on a Kossuth team that took a much improved Corinth team to overtime to the wire the previous week.
Yeah.
So
and Kossuth had 15. They had 15 starters back from a team that went to the 3rd round of the 3A playoffs.
Yeah, so they. That's a good team. That's going to be a team to watch.
Yeah, man. And they're still a contender.
They're still a contender in 3A, definitely.
3A, yeah.
I would keep my eye on them because, and like I said, they're on the road. It's Ripley's homecoming. They come out hyped up. So, you get them, and they're going to be a tough out in the North and 3A this year, I think.
And a lot of people I know, my guy Brad Locke, who I used to work with.
Yeah.
He picked, Kossuth, which a lot of people did, and which I understand why they did. Kossuth had played the much tougher schedule.
They had.
Ripley hadn't played. The level of competition was not near what Kossuth had played. And so, if I'd been in the same position, I probably would have picked Kossuth.
Well, I guess that's part of that. Maybe is just not seeing. Like if you see Ripley up close, yes, you can look and be like, this defense is salty. You're gonna have to be. You're gonna have to bring it to put up. If you're Ripley at this point in time in the season, the way their defense has played, the weapons they have, you kind of think that if you can get 3 touchdowns on the board, you're in good shape for a dub because that defense is just it's salty.
And that's something Live talked about, like the front 4. You got Charles Christmas Jr., Charlie Coombs, Cooper Davis.
Charlie Coombs is playing great right now.
They
got some big bodies too.
And Anthony Bell, and he said, it takes 5 to block 4. And so, man, that leaves, people like Aquan McDonald free, Keegan Collier. It leaves them free to make plays, and so. And then Michael Turner got another interception. That's his 4th of the year.
4th in 3 games.
Yeah, 4th in 3 games.
And 2 of those have been taken back to the house. Is that right? 2?
No, only the one against.
Just 1 returned.
Yeah, the one against
Bahia. 1 pick 6. Yeah.
He got 1 pick 6, and so he's. I think Buck Johnson has the record of 7, and so he's got.
And that's in jeopardy. You're at 4 3 games. 7 is definitely in your sights.
Yeah. So and it was a huge win, and in the run by Jalen Brooks at the end.
Yeah, that was tremendous.
And the call.
Owen Peyton Taylor. Yeah, man, he turned in a great. Shout out to my man.
Yeah.
He did a great job on that call, and of course.
And it was a good live stream.
It was a good. Yeah. We got Joey Jones, who does our video work. He was right on the action, kind of following it, down, and then it was a good night for the Ripley Tigers and fans of the Ripley Tigers and us who cover the Ripley Tigers. That was definitely a good night to get the dub on homecoming. So they win 21-0. I guess we'll go to the next game that was actually in Tippah County, which was Walnut.
Yeah,
they just obliterated Middleton, which is what in the preview we said that's going to happen. Yeah. Just Middleton's not great at the football.
They're more basketball.
They're a basketball school, but still. So we've talked about this in Ripley's 2 big wins. If you play an inferior team or a team that you feel as though you should get the win over, coming and taking care of business, get a big lead, coast to the end. That's what they did. What they're supposed to do. Yeah. And Walnut's sitting there.
Walnut's 3-0,
undefeated on the year too.
They only given up 2 points.
Yeah. They gave up
8 to
8 to Faulkner.
Yeah, 8 to Faulkner. They shut Ashland out. They shut Middleton out, and they for the first 3 games, they've had a running clock for the first 3 games because they actually they have that rule in Tennessee as well.
Yeah, so they take the battle for the state line there, and get the win.
And that's what he talked about because you
spoke with Meeks.
Yeah, he said that he was nervous about them getting up after coming off the Joe Bowl, and so he was pleased that they got up because they scored 20 in the first half, 20 in the first quarter, 21 in the second, 41-0, and so he was happy to get that out of the way. For the first time, Kamarion Gray did not go over the 100-yard mark. He had 89 yards rushing, in which he had
he was averaging 120.
Yeah, something a game. He was averaging 120, but he didn't play just a whole lot. Meeks was trying to get him out, and Cameron Armstrong, the nose guard, I think he played 3 plays, and so he was getting them in and getting them out.
Getting a lot of the other guys some PT. Yeah. That's what you want in a game that for sure.
Because he got everybody. He got all his players in first half, and so they were able to coast. So. And plus, they let them rest and we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah, for a very big game. Even though it's not a district game, still it's quality. Of course, we'll talk about that in a moment. So, what other stats? I know you had some stats there.
And then,
who were some standouts that we could?
C.J. Adams had his best game of the year. 10 attempts. The senior C.J. Adams, 10 attempts for 76 yards. And like I said, Gray, he had 8 carries for 89 yards. Zyler Clifton, 5 for 62 yards rushing. Gray did have 2 touchdowns. This is his 3rd game in a row with multiple touchdowns.
Scores,
yeah, Clifton had a couple of scores, and Gray had 3 touchdowns. Matter of fact, he actually caught one.
Yeah, so that was his. He's got nine touchdowns in 3 games,
and he's got to be near the top in the state.
Yeah, we need to look that up.
Yeah, with that many touchdowns. But Drew Jackson. He threw 3 passes.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, and plus it was it was actually a little worse conditions from what I'm told.
Yeah.
At Walnut, and that game actually ended up. Was there some kind of a?
Now I know, according to the stats, because they played the 3rd quarter, but there are no stats for the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I believe they called it due to rain, lightning, whatever the exact call was.
So Drew was 1 for 3, and 1 completion was
for a score.
Yes,
you don't complete them, make them count.
Make them count.
Yeah. So anyway, they roll. So we got 2 shutouts. Ripley, Walnut both pitch a shutout.
Yeah.
But the game of the night was actually probably Faulkner, who got in the W column.
Yeah.
On the road. They got a road win against a 3A opponent in Alcorn Central.
The Eagles.
The mighty Eagles.
Eagles get off the snide and get a win. And I was hoping that they were.
Yeah, that was one we kind of circled that they got a good shot at.
Yeah. And that was like a pleasant surprise because I actually I had to go to work after that. And so I didn't know. And then so I'm scrolling through scores and then it comes up and I'm like, yes, got dub. Yeah, Eagles. Okay, I see you.
We're excited anytime our local teams pick up a win, but especially in the way that they got this win. So they're trailing 21-12 heading to the 4th quarter. So you're on the road, you're 0-2, trying to scrap for a win against a 3A opponent. You're down 21-12. Eagles, kind of put it together and pull it out, pitch a shutout in the 4th quarter, and come away 24-21.
Yeah, they did, and it was 14-12 at the half. They give up a score, and most of that was just turnovers. They gave Alcorn Central a short field a couple of times.
Yeah,
and and that's how they scored.
And you would think too. We've talked about it several times. Conditions that night were not great for anyone, so you kind of expect some extra turnovers in those situations.
And Central gave it back to them. They sort of traded turnovers. a couple of times there at the end. Matter of fact, they traded turnovers 3 different times. Right at the end, they were down. So they're down 21. They're down 21-18, and it's late, and they start to put a drive together. And Kane Floyd hits Chris Nunley, who Nunley had 165. He caught 7 passes, 165 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
He's dynamic. Man.
Yeah,
he's dynamic.
I mean, he is. But he catches one, and he's knocked out like right at the 2-yard line. And a couple of plays later, they run quarterback sneak with Gavin Woolley. He scores, the winning touchdown to go up 24-21.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll get into upcoming opponents and all future, but that's a big win for Faulkner. Kind of we talked about how going into a long district season for them, needed to get some momentum coming into that, and I think that could be a catalyst for them maybe to pull off a couple of.
Yeah, I think so too. Plus they get it right when they get because they're off this week.
They're off this week. Yeah,
and then
they get TCPS.
Yeah, they got TCPS for home,
and that's our game. That's our game of the week that week too.
Next week, yeah. And so, it couldn't have come at a better time. They would have loved to beat Potts Camp. They really would have loved to beat Walnut. But just getting a win, and I think going through those two.
And so they played both of those teams closer. Those were opponents they had last year.
Yeah.
They played both of them in a closer. They took the loss, and of course, moral victories. We don't believe in those things, but you do build a little momentum knowing that hey, we were competitive. We got a score against Walnut there, kind of late. Maybe that snowballs over.
And that's something that Angler talked about that that would be getting the score.
Just getting the score and kind of snowballing that over into. So you get a score, you snowball that over into a win, and now you get a week off to kind of reflect on what went right and come back for district play, ready to lock and load.
And Kane Floyd, he had a big night that night.
You had a couple of stats there.
Yeah, he was 3 for 6 for 99 yards, and the 3 touchdowns that Nunley got, he
were caught from.
Yeah.
So they toughed that one out. So
they did. And that'll be big for him, I believe. And that's what Angler said. They're gonna have a little fun this week, and. They deserve to have a little fun.
You do. Get the dub, and let's get back to business early next week. Ready to get another one.
Yeah.
Homecoming too. So homecomings are always
homecoming week. Yeah,
big, and so we'll be there getting. Well, of course, that's our game of the week. We'll also get some.
Yeah, and then they got TCPS, and that's followed by Thrasher.
Yep, which is another one that's very winnable.
Man, they could reel off 3 in a row.
Man. That'd be a winning record.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're pulling for them. Okay, so that was last week, and that was again the first time that all 3 Tippah County teams won on the same night since 2016.
Yeah,
so
October 14th.
Shout out.
Yeah.
It was H.W. Byers, Rosa Fort, and Hamilton. Yeah. Those were the 3 wins for the Tippah County teams that night, and then they get 3 wins again this night. Let's make it a regular account. We don't want it to be 6 years before it.
I know.
We need more wins.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was last week. We're going to talk about next week's games. Give us just 30 seconds. We're going to listen to a message from one of our sponsors that helped make this possible. So we're going to cut to that real quick. We'll be right back with talking about this week's big games for Tippah County. Give us just a second.
Nothing's tougher than a Mahindra tractor.
Except a bigger Mahindra tractor.
Pound for pound, this one's still tougher. Tough.
Tougher.
Tough.
Tougher.
Mahindra, the official tractor of Tough and Stuart Haas Racing.
Nothing's tougher than a Mahindra tractor.
Except a bigger Mahindra tractor.
Pound for pound, this one's still tougher.
Now we're back. There we go.
And
we made that happen.
Like learning on the fly.
Yeah, we're learning on the fly. It's the first time doing it that way. But all of this is possible, but due to our sponsors. So we gotta take a break.
Sponsors.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for helping sponsor the sports.
So I mean, really, we really appreciate it because
we love getting on here and talking.
Man, I'm having the time of my life. I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah. So this will also be the audio from this for those of you who maybe get in the car want to listen back to this will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Anchor, Google Podcasts. Really, anywhere you listen to podcasts, you'll be able to check this out. So anyway, we're going to talk this week's games. Where do we want to start? We got two big ones. Where are we starting? Because we're gonna have coverage at both. We will start with.
We can start with Walnut Biggerville.
Let's start with Walnut Biggerville. That's also our game of the week.
Yeah.
That we will be broadcasting live.
Yeah.
It was a tough choice on where to broadcast this game at, just because there's what could be two tremendous games, I think. So let's just start with Biggersville.
And I think, now a lot of people are going to think I should be biased because I went to Ripley, but I'm about objectivity, and so I personally think the biggest game of the two is Walnut Biggersville because it's here close, and it's a good matchup. Biggersville, 1A contender. Walnuts
3-0.
3-0 coming on strong. Both of them. And Ripley St. Toby's 3-0. And
so we got two. I mean, just two.
Yeah.
Two big time.
Yeah.
Two big time. But we will talk Biggersville.
Yeah.
Won't. So we know what Walnut did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Biggersville so far this year. They're 2-0. They've already had a bye week. They tried to find an opponent and weren't able to do it. So
I'm pretty sure nobody wanted to play them.
Yeah, I mean, well, that basically is pretty much what it comes down to. So they won opening week 40-14 over a really good West Lowndes team.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were off, and then they won 36-12 over what is traditionally a powerhouse in Eupora in a 2A power. So, they've given up a couple of scores, not much, put up some points, and really from what I've been told, has kind of coasted. Even though those games are not just huge margins, they probably were not showing the entire bag of tricks, I wouldn't think.
Probably got a big and
kind of what makes me think that is this stat. Jathan Hatch has got 458 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdowns on the year, but he's only got 25 touches in 2 games.
Yeah.
So if you got a guy averaging 20 yards every time he touches the ball, and you've only given it to him a little over 12 times a game, you're holding. You're not wanting to show all your.
You ain't, and
all cards.
Man, that's a one-hitter quitter. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, I mean, so you're. He's scoring every 6. He touches the ball 6 times. He's getting a touch.
So what he had 163 and 3 touchdowns last week.
I think that's I believe I'd have to double check.
Yeah.
Just those are cumulative stats, and so they're not one-dimensional. They can really throw it. Drew and Dylan Rousey. Drew being the quarterback. I mean, they've got a ton of athletes at Biggersville, and we've kind of talked about how. So they won back-to-back state championships in basketball. Recently played for a football state championship. Last year played for a baseball state championship, and a lot of those guys are playing on this football team. So they got some winners, hard-nosed kids. So anyway, Drew is 15 of 21 for 361 yards and 5 touchdowns. Dylan Rousey has got 200 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns through 2 games. So they are not scared to air it out.
No, they're not. That's what Meeks talked about. His quote was, "They do everything well. They are legit. They are as good as what everyone says. Everything you read, anything you hear, is the truth."
Yeah.
But he said, he welcomed the challenge. He said, it's not.
This is their biggest challenge today. This one, no doubt about it.
And it's kind of like Joe Ball. It's not going to put them in the playoffs or keep them out, but it's a good measuring stick.
Yeah, kind of where you are playing a very quality opponent who, I've seen some different statewide rankings and pundits talking statewide about how maybe a team to play for a state title in 1A. They got that ability.
I mean, most definitely. The way they're playing now, and so they got Thrasher, because they're in there with Faulkner.
Yeah.
And unless something goes completely wrong, you could probably pencil them in
for a district. They're the favorites anyway for a district.
Got to be the favorite
title. Yeah, you're penciling them in probably for a district title.
Now, Smithville may give them the biggest challenge in division.
And Smithville, I think, from what I'm being told, is a little down. So
and that's at Bigville. So
yeah, and so I don't know. I mean, the Wildcats, for sure, if you had to just say one thing they have to do well, is limit the big play. So we're looking here, Jathan Hatch is a tremendous athlete. He's originally from Tippah County and, transferred over to Biggersville and has been playing there.
Ripley for a while.
Was that Ripley? Yeah. But, so we're looking here, he's averaging 20 yards, 20 yards a touch.
Yeah. And
scoring every 6 times he touches the ball. You got to keep him in containment, and you got to watch they go some play action off of that, and so you got to kind of watch your quarterback receiver play, but
you got to be sound up front.
And watch them going over the top. Yeah. Oh, so just
and I think at least gonna have to have a big game.
Yeah, Jack is gonna have to kind of man the. They're probably gonna. If I was guessing, I'm gonna say
they're gonna target him.
They're gonna match up Jack kind of with somewhere to where he can make a play in the defensive backfield.
And he can make a play, too.
He can. He's a playmaker.
That's something that me and Meeks talked about, the way he, been sort of beefed up. And, he's got great hands. That's why he's on the punt. He made punt returns.
Yeah, he's a punt returner.
He makes some great
had several really nice punt returns. Kind of, because he's a good athlete. Yeah. I think they're gonna test the secondary a little, but you're going to have to be sound because Hatch is strong, quick, and fast, and you just want to be fundamentally sound, wrap him up.
You got to be able to tackle in space.
Yeah.
And I think they got some kids that can tackle in space.
Yeah.
And
Adrian Palmer's made several good open field tackles for them as well. So open field tackles are going to be big in this one.
I think Armstrong needs to have a big night.
Yeah. Trying to get in the backfield a little.
Yeah. If he can get in the backfield a lot, and then just taking the air out of the ball when they get can't have turnovers.
So we've talked about this over and over. They got the 3 big backs, and this will be a good chance for them just to try to pound the rock.
Like old Jackie Sherrill, Mississippi State, 3 yards in the cloud of dust with Kevin Bowie and Michael James.
Yeah,
it was ugly offense.
Yeah.
But he got the job done.
And you want to kind of limit the big play opportunities by you hold on to the ball. You don't give them any chance for the big play. So I think that's what Walnut is looking for. And of course, with Bigville, you're going to kind of look for. So it's opposites here. Yeah. One is looking to limit the big plays. One is looking to make the big plays. Yeah. And so that'll be the tail of the tape. And actually, so that'll be our game of the week. We'll be live broadcasting that from Biggersville. Owen Peyton Taylor will be there, and we'll kind of have some people out this week. So actually, I believe Grady Gardner is who's going to be doing.
Okay, Grady.
He's going to be doing the broadcast with OPT. Yeah, this week. Good. So anyway, I think they're both great, and I think we will see some good calls if you want to tune in. Mississippi Sports Group on YouTube or Facebook Live or Tippah County Sports.
We're in there everywhere.
It'll be if you turn on your phone and look at it, and you follow us, you will see this game. We'll have it,
and then you can go back and watch it.
You can go back and watch it.
I logged on to YouTube.
Yeah,
and you know how they do the recommendations.
Yeah.
And like the Kossuth game
was recommended. Yeah, so we had quite a few with like 20,000 people watched at least some portion of the game last week. So we're hoping for another big crowd this week, and it's a big game, so it could very well be another big crowd. So,
I know I'm gonna be in San Antonio, but I will definitely
be keeping up with that a little.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the Walnut game in a nutshell. Is Can Walnut limit the big plays? Can Biggersville hit the big plays? Which one of those two come out? And that's what we'll be watching for.
I think if Walnut wins the toss, you got to take the ball first.
Oh yeah, you try to put together a 9-minute drive or something.
Hold it the whole.
Let's
man. Let's let the play clock go down
and let's kind of do that. Yeah. And so we'll see kind of how it plays out.
Yeah.
But I agree that if you got the opportunity to do that, then definitely make that happen.
Yeah. And then if that, and if Bigger does get the ball, if you can make an early stop,
get that early momentum, especially on the road. Yeah. You don't want them to bust a big play on the third play of the game. Crowds yelling and screaming, and so on the road, you definitely need to try to make a momentum shifting play early, one way or the other. You either got to deflate the ball, or you got to just take it away from them. Get a turn, make something happen. So, looking forward to see how that score ends up. It's kind of definitely a measuring stick.
Oh, it is
for the Wildcats, and we'll see how that plays out. Yeah. And speaking of measuring stick, perhaps. So, Ripley. We'll talk Ripley now. Ripley's first big real game was last week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now that was at home, but now it's a whole different animal on the road.
Yeah.
Against a very good Senatobia team.
Yeah.
Senatobia is 3-0. They beat 6A DeSoto Central 27-23 in the opener. They beat a really good 3A Water Valley team 34-6.
Yeah.
And then they beat Independence, another quality team, 30-20. So they've given up a few points, whereas Ripley has not. But they've given up points to some quality opponents.
Yeah.
So what do you think? So again, Senatobia, Ripley. What was the Senatobia score last year?
I don't remember the exact score, but it started. It was close early. May have been maybe a 7-point game after one quarter. Senatobia was up, and then it was like the wheels started falling off. But for about a quarter and a half, Ripley played solid. But I mean, Senatobia was loaded with seniors.
Played for a state title.
That team went on and played for a state title. They had some great, good looking athletes. And Ripley just, they were okay. But they weren't on Senate.
They had some growing up. They had some growing up to do. Last year, and so now that team has grown up.
Yeah.
But in the off season to now.
And I think is that the game where Ty gets hurt?
Got hurt. He did. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he missed most of that game.
He did. So I think if you're Ripley, and I've seen this. This has been on every list I've seen of like statewide games to watch this week. This game is circled for not just these. Ripley fans obviously circled this one, Senatobia, obviously, but this has been a game statewide that people are talking about and looking to see because we wrote a column. You wrote a column about it. We published it. Ripley for real. Maybe they answered some of those questions.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is another chance because I still am getting like, how good is Ripley? I've seen Ripley. So Walnut, actually, we'll go back to Walnut. Walnut was ranked as the number 7 2A team in the state. Ripley was number 6 on the, bunch of places put out those lists. But on one of the ones, we got Ripley right outside the top 5.
Yeah. And I think that's, it's hard to do in high school because
it is.
You don't really
especially early in the season.
You don't really know who, teams play. And so, but, I understand, that does show some respect because they weren't even in that.
Weren't even being talked about at all, really, coming in this year.
And I think that, that's the best way to be if I'm a coach. Listen,
you want to be off the radar.
Look over me.
Yeah, look over me. And
I promise. Look over me.
You don't want to know. You look up in the second quarter and you're down 21-0, and you're trying to figure out what happened and where Ripley. That's where you prefer to be on any team, not just Ripley, but just any team. You're definitely.
That is definitely where you would, like to be. And like I put it in the article, the more they win, the more they're gonna get pressed. And now, can you handle that? Because that's something Lyles talks about. Can you handle success?
Yeah.
You got to be able to handle success. And speaking of Lyles, he's like the Bill Belichick of high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I asked him a question.
Short.
He gives me just enough.
Just enough to get by.
Yeah,
That's gonna be about it.
he's even keel, and I asked him about that, but he's the most even keel coach. And he said, I can't get upset on the sideline or be acting crazy because the players are gonna look at me, and so, but he keeps the even keel, and his team is, like that. Like Ty, you don't really know what the score is because I mean they're just focused and nose to the grindstone. No matter what you see them celebrate a score, but other than that, they are even keel, and the staff is like that, and so I think that will take them far.
Yeah, because like you said, you get string together a couple of big wins. The press, not just us. Me and you are going to talk about them.
Yeah,
all the time. But you start getting statewide.
Yep.
Pub and reading it and people tagging you and stuff and yada yada yada. So gotta keep your head about it.
Yeah, because they were one of the last week's game was in top 10 games to watch.
Yeah.
And that was Brandon Shields and Capital MS.
Yeah, Capital Sports.
Yeah, Capital Sports. So, but last year's game, Ripley lost 28-6.
Yeah, and so, you kind of think.
And they had a bunch of seniors. That's something that Lyles mentioned. They had a bunch of seniors last year. A lot of those kids are gone. However, he said that Senatobia is a good team.
Very good team.
They do a lot of good things well, and it's
undefeated.
Yeah.
To beat some these are some quality opponents. Yeah. Their schedule's been tough.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a challenge for them. You got to travel to Senatobia. Senatobia's at home. I'm sure they're thinking about last year. And so
we'll see how it goes. So kind of keys for Ripley here. I think they still are going to, because they're still going to look to hit the big play.
Oh yeah.
I think they got some weapons and solid quarterback play. Should be clear field conditions from what I'm looking at so I might even see them potentially throw the ball around even a little more than they have done the first, because they had no need to really the first 2 weeks. Then last week, a little bit of ball
last
wetness
week,
and whatever. So what did it? What?
Ty was Ty was 4 for 11, 92 yards, and those and most of that was just in the first half. Because they sort of ran the ball. In the second half, really didn't need to throw it. And Michael Turner, he had 3 catches for 89 yards. He had a touchdown. That first touchdown, I mean, he ran a good route. He ran right by the kid.
Yeah.
And but
that ball was on the money.
Ty put it. I think I posted that the only way it could have been better if Ty had just walked out there.
Yeah, handed to him. It was. He dropped a dime. For sure. Down the sideline. So, and they call Turner the burner.
Burner.
He's got some
about
wheels.
That today. And actually, I found out why he has that name.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, when he played youth football.
Okay, TCYFL.
He was the quarterback.
Okay.
And so when he would throw the ball to the receivers, they would shake their hands because the ball would come to him. So I thought it was because he was the receiver and he was the defensive back.
He's burning it in there.
No, he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's look for a wide receiver pass.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Tell him he's got the skills. He can burn it in there.
Yeah. And Ripley just has so many. That's something I mean, they got so many weapons.
Yeah,
you got Williams, McDonald.
And so they kind of have some, and they kind of do some different things. They got a couple that are just pounded in there. They got a couple with breakaway speed. They got a couple that can get on the outside.
There's so many things you got to prepare for.
Yeah. And so they run the the kind of traditional
like the pistol. Then you got the
kind of like a wing tee,
double wing.
Yeah. So they've got multiple sets they can show you.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to prepare for, and especially because Coach Lyles is well known for running his like wing offense, but then they might drop back and throw it. Yeah. Have the ability to throw it even out of the pistol or shotgun formation.
And that's something Michael Harrison is on the staff this year. He's back on the staff. He was at Ripley a few years,
Yeah.
and then he left and came back. But he said that of all the coaches, he hated preparing for Perry Lyle.
Yeah.
He hated it. And he said the coaches would tell you that they like, it's good preparing for anybody else, but like Perry Lyle, because he does so much.
Yeah. So, and I think the Tigers are. I think we're going to see more of that. I believe we're going to see more of that. I can't see them. They're not. I don't think they're going to come out and throw it 40 times a game or anything. But I think they're going to line up in multiple sets. Might see just a little more balanced this weekend. I can't or tomorrow night.
And I think that's another good thing about Ripley. They do whatever they're doing, whatever they're having success at. That's what they're going to
roll with it. So, yes.
If
they rush for 250 yards in the first half and 3 scores, you're going to see more rushes in the second. Why not?
There's no need to recreate the win.
Yeah. So, what else we got shaking?
I'm just going to look at looking at like San Antonio's roster. We talked about that. They got some big
boys. What did you see? One or 6 something, 400 pounds.
6'3", 275. Up on the line, 6'4", 300. Now these are sophomores. David Goby, 77, 6'4", 300 pounds. Now these kids may not start. I actually don't know, but I'm just looking at the roster.
Oh yeah, if you got some big kids, something to prepare for anyway.
Christopher McLaughlin Jr., 6'1", 400
Yeah, that's the one we was talking about earlier. 6'1", 400 pound sophomore.
Yeah. And I got a big receiver. I have to look at his stats, but Clive Kimball, he's a junior, 6'3", 200. They're probably one of the biggest receivers Ripley's faced.
Yeah,
and
that's a big guy.
Coach Lyles talked about Jabriston Abram.
Yeah.
Cornerback, wide receiver, 5'9", 170. He's a senior. And so, they would have to prepare for him. And I can see at that side, 5'9", 170, probably kind of like an Elijah Moore.
Yeah, kind of like
T.J. Colon.
Yeah, T.J. Colon type. Yeah. Get out and open space and make you miss in the phone booth.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll have the broadcast at Walnut, Biggersville. Ked will have all the rundown on Twitter and maybe some video highlights, pictures, et cetera, from
we're looking forward to it.
Senatobia.
I don't think I've ever.
You ever been to Senatobia?
I've been to been there for basketball.
Yeah,
but I have not been to.
And so Ripley Senatobia's had some basketball medals over the years, and of course, kind of this last year was. I think was that Ripley's first loss? It was Ripley's first loss last year, wasn't it?
Last year.
Last year, yeah.
So and then they reeled off. They had that loss, and they reeled off about 4 or 5 in a row before getting beat by Pontotoc. So
so the Tigers are looking to stay undefeated. Wildcats looking to stay undefeated in football action.
But because they actually had the actual same one at Kossuth, Senatobia, and Boone. And that's another thing I forgot about that Ripley was up 21-0 at half last year, and then had to hold off Kossuth and won 21-20. Then they lose to Senatobia. Then they get Boonville.
So we kind of talked
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, then they won 5 in a row
straight. So I guess talking about the second half of Kossuth last year, we talked football very momentum heavy, even game to game. So like you're up 21-0, but then you end up holding on for a 21.
Yeah.
A closer game than you anticipated, and then that kind of carries over to a loss, so then you got to regroup. So,
I thought actually the way it started, Kossuth came out with the momentum because they Ripley got a short field, and Kossuth just they shut them down and got the ball back, but then the defense forces a turnover and sort of snuffs that out, and then they hold on.
The Ripley defense is strong, and I think how far Ripley – of course, they got weapons on offense. But, like you said, defense wins championships. I think they need to probably – if you keep giving up an average of whatever, 2 points something points per game,
that's pretty good.
You're going to get the many wins will stack up. We'll see what this one comes out to. We're pulling for – our local teams pulling for hopefully better weather is what it's looking like for us here. So safe travels to you to Senatobia. I'm actually leaving in the morning going to Florida, so I'm missing high school football this week. But I guess if I had to pick, one good reason, I guess, to miss Friday Night Lights is a trip to Florida. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, hoping so. All right, so this has been the Mississippi Sports Report. I'm John. This is Ked. We'll be back next week. Ked, check out www.tippahsports.com. We'll have some other stuff on there from these games.
Yeah, we'll have
follow us on social media.
Follow-ups and previews and some volleyball.
Yes, we'll have hopefully some more volleyball. We've been to a couple games. But anyway, so thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll be back next week. Good luck to our teams this week, and y'all have a good one. Thanks.